I'm DJ Rasp and welcome to another edition of Kitchen Kutz. Today I'm joined by the superhero turntablist himself, Mr. Peter Parker.
Right. Hey mate.
How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, I'm really good. Really, feel great at the moment. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for coming along.
Mate, it's a pleasure. I'm buzzing.
Okay, we'll start the interview by asking, how did you get involved with DJing and, how did you start your DJ journey?
I can't remember sort of who or what really, you hear like scratches on hip hop records and that, and not really knowing what it was, being from crew or whatever, and not being exposed to that much sort of hip hop, or I guess it was juice. It was juice really. I think I saw before then there was like a Public Enemy. Do you ever see that Public Enemy video where they're like live at the Hippodrome or all them whistles are going off, and like bring that beat back, all that But Terminator X, love him and everything, but you didn't really see him. You didn't really get to see what would he do, and Run the I don't know, what else was that? Norski's House Party, Dance Energy and all that.
Yeah, BBC Two.
Yeah, you might see someone on there, but at the same time, it would be like a DJ just sort of queuing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all there, so it's like I couldn't. At that time, I wasn't putting the noises to actions and stuff, and then it was juice. From the outset, it's like the hypest shit I've ever seen in my life, mate. Follow the leader, not follow the leader, know the ledge, and just the double bass line, and him doing this thing, and for the whole intro, and then I don't know, his mum comes in and screw it or whatever, pulls his headphones out or whatever, takes him out of that fantasy world. But at that time, that's what I needed. Was just something to fall in love with, and what the fuck,
Yeah.
And that did it. Not only was the film sick, but then it's just the film itself was an education, but yeah, it was 1992. I don't know, something like that at that point, just, and Gangstar, that As I Read My Essay.
Oh, okay.
That shit with Primo,
Yeah.
doing his cuts, and I don't know, just this shit is sick. I want in on it. How or what, how do you get in on it, or just having this love affair of how do I see more of this, and at that time I didn't really know how that would happen, or how do you, and but then these skaters came one day when we were all skating at Safeway in this car park. And I could hear the music from you could hear the approach and everything, just fucking loud ass hip hop. I can't remember what the tunes or anything, but just this, and it's coming to us,
Yeah.
and then these kids will come out and they'd be sick, and they've got a fucking loud ass stereo and just leave it on, they don't care, and it's just drawn to it and drawn to these guys, and this one kid, it took a few times, they'd let on, and because this Safeway car parking crew is really good for skating, so people would come, and and that's what usually happens. You go town hopping or whatever and see what the terrain's like, and these guys would come and then come back, and then just this process. Then you start letting on to each other a bit more, because at first it's just attitude and that, it is Well, not attitude, but just like, oh, who's that, and how do you let on, and how do you become mates, and
you're just checking each other out, and
all that, yeah, like, and like skill level, and all that kind of stuff, and just these guys though, I was like, oh, they kept coming back, and every time they would come, it would just be a vibe, and so like. One time they were like, "Oh, do you want to come back with us, or do you want to come skating?" And it's this kid, mate. And like he lived over a pub, so he just had this fucking biggest room you've ever seen, and he had turntables.
Okay.
And like going to his and just sort of seeing them, and I started art college at Hartford in Northwich, and there was a guy there, Sean. All right, Sean. He had like Technics.
Right.
So Sai had like Cam direct drives, and they were sick and everything. But then like it's like, oh, this other guy's got Technics, and when I got to see them, it's kind of like you can, and I got to have a go of them, and I just got the bug after that. It was just like, this is what I need to be doing. And I just like feeling like I just want, like, I don't know, something changed. Like, I didn't just like, I don't know, once I got the bug, it was like, I have to be good at it.
Okay.
Like some kind, like some kind of drive like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, going size and sort of seeing him, and then we became mates, and like I remember going and like having a bong or whatever, and like hearing the Wu-Tang album for the first time. Like all these mind-blowing experiences, and like it was crazy. And one of them wanted to go to Huntington Beach in the States to like try and become a pro. All that. Okay. That was like the thing you did, Yeah. And then Sai was going to follow suit, and I actually thought Sai was better than this other guy who went before. I think his name was Mike. Anyway, like, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to go and do this. Do you want to buy my setup?"
Okay, the Technics.
No, the cams, unfortunately. Yeah, the cams. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like whatever it was, I would make it work.
Yeah,
and that's what you do.
Yeah.
And before then, I would like I had like one turntable, and I bought a realistic mixer, and would make like these pause tapes using like bits of films and stuff, and then like whatever 12 inches. I started buying like hip hop 12s and that. Like around that time, which would be like the early 90s, all around 1992, so I'm 16, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and do this thing, do you want to buy my setup?" And he had like these Wharfdale speakers, and his mixer was nailed. That's what I remember. Like the mixer wasn't really happening for me, but like he had these turntables, an amp, big ass speakers, just all this stuff, and like everything sounded sick. When I was round at his room, didn't matter what it was, it all sounded good. So I was just like, I can't wait to have this in my house, which would have been my dad's worst nightmare, because like I had to share a room with my brother from the age of 4, and that's what it always was, loud music, like him just doing me dad's head in, like, and then receiving bollockings, and then like the ultimate one would be like electric getting turned off in the house. And that's like when you've like crossed the shit line, And and then there's me, my brother's moved out, and the next thing I've got these 2 turntables, and at that time, like before I did that, I was listening to all that shit on the headphones because it was all so naughty, NWA and all that. Well, like, I fucking love all that shit, but like it was so brutal. Like the motherfucking saga continues, you know what I mean? Like I can't crank that.
No.
Like with my mum downstairs, bollocked, Yeah. So I don't know, like just getting them cams, and I had a job at Royal Mail, like working because they've got a sorting office in Crewe. Okay. So I was like, right, I'm going to buy a mixer. And then, you know, like you get Hip Hop Connection or whatever, and you're going looking at all them adverts that just list everything. Do you ever, you get that when you love it like that, you know, you just kind of go, you just look at all the lists, look at how much everything costs, you know, and it's all like so out of fucking reach.
Yeah.
You know, and but yeah, I got this Newmark mixer. You know, I think I only got it because it looked like how it's, you know, it was just a 2-channel thing or whatever, and that's what I spent my money on, you know, getting this mixer and then those cams, like the direct drives, and so I got like the way I made it work was like I got a regular pair of slip mats and then I got some more, and I cut the outside of the slip mat so that it fit inside the, you know, the platter how it has like a groove around the outside, or like a lip or whatever. Yeah. So I cut the slip mat so it fit inside. And then I got another set of slip mats and I glued them to it. So it made it quite high, but it allowed I just got way more slip, you know, from the mat or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that's inventive.
Oh, mate. And then, you know, and I'm fucking writing, you know, like, do your own graph on them and everything, you know, like, but yeah, and it gave me the slip that I needed, and from the outset, it's like, I guess, like, you know, I don't know, I think the thing about Juice was, like, that there was a competition, you know, and it was like, his situation shit, if he does this, it's going to make it better, and that's what the dream is, and the dream was, and I just applied myself to that straight away. So it was like I was sort of learning about all the music and buzzing off everything that was coming out, but there was something about the DJing and how it was like, I don't know, just when I saw it I just thought it was the coolest thing, you know what I mean, like
Mixmaster Massacre.
Yeah, just like is that what it was? Yeah, with Queen Latifah, like, and all that, you know, and like the fucking hype Big Daddy Kane tune and all that, you know, and even like, I think big DJs at the time, they got them in and were, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Like guesting on it and that, but I was just clueless at that time, you know, and just watching this, and I was like, I'll have some of that, you know, because my whole education it was always with metal and like sort of punk and going to gigs. I'd been doing that since the age of 11. And going to like festivals, and my brother, like, I was drawn to thrash music, which was kind of like as the hardest of the hard. So you know, like, the fastest of the fast, hard, and with a punk attitude. So it's like, all right, you don't give a shit, you know, like, great, let's, you know, like this, that whole, like, you know, it's just being young, you know, like key to everything. And I could go to these thrash gigs and like, okay, that's how a gig should be, but then watching Juice and like, oh right, okay, so they can be like that as well, and I just wanted in, mate. I just wanted in, and like there was, I think, because of the skating and Psy, and I just like, it was like he was where I wanted to be.
Okay.
Like his skating was ridiculous, and he was a flow master, his style, everything, and I was like, I want some of that, and like, and his DJ, I want some of that, you know. So I would just latch myself onto, you know, like, we became just really super tight, but there was always like a competitive edge, as there is, you know, and that, like, and with like hip hop stuff, it's just like, yeah, like that's what it was all about. So, and I don't know, I just pushed myself, you know. But yeah, I think that's how it started with the cams, and but it only lasted like a couple of months, because I knew after getting a taste of the Technics that I was like, in order for me to be as good as I need, I'm gonna need them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You need to upgrade.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, it's mad, mate. Like, don't know, like, so there was another, like, in buy and sell, and I would have been maybe 18 at that time, just going through all this shit, like nothing really working, like college and art college, and you know, like I didn't pass the course and I didn't fail either. It just ended, you know, and like it wasn't cool, you know. But then after that, it's like, what's left, you know, and I ended up on Asda, like on a checkout, just working on a checkout, you know. And at that point, that was when it really changed, you know, because I was like, I'm getting out of here, you know. And so, like the love affair, it changed, and it became like something that like I can actually apply myself to this, and in fact, I'm going to do it. I have to, you know what I mean? Because I felt like I wasn't going to be a graphic artist. I wasn't going to, you know, that wasn't my destiny or whatever, you know. And then seeing Juice and like just being in Asda, where I just felt like this is it. Is this my life, you know? And that's it. I've got to get out of here. How am I going to do that? I'm going to fucking win the DMC.
This is the hero behind Spider-Man. His name is Peter Parker. By all means, make some noise for him.
Now Peter Parker up in this piece. Represent. Yo, what's up, yo?
So how did you get into doing the DMC? How did that competitive journey start for you?
So, from what I can remember, when I went to get that, so after the cams and the Newmark, then it was mad. Like at that time, like I thought, you know, I just felt really alone, and I felt like I'd failed my parents, you know, like they gave me this opportunity to get me in the art college, and just, I don't know, like at that age, my dad really came through for me, because like it was a bit like I'd fucked everything up, or that's how I felt, you know what I mean? But there, I've got these turntables, and this is what I'm doing now. But I needed the Technics, and there was an advert in the buy and sell, and like I remember saying to my dad, like, look, I know that I know you've spent loads of money, you know, like getting me doing the art thing and that, but I really feel like this is what I should be doing, but I need this equipment. If I can't have that equipment, I can't fulfill what I need to fulfill. There's no way I can do this competition without that equipment. It's just not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just can't. And I was like, I've seen this advert in the buy and sell. Can you lend me the money, you know, to get them? And he was like, okay. And he gave me a lift. Then it was in Derby, and it's like 2 second-hand Technics, 1210s, and this big ass Sound Lab mixer that's like blue and yellow, funky thing, you know.
I remember the wide thing.
Yeah.
I do remember them.
And it's weird, isn't it? Like I can't, you know, like I'm just like kind of reliving all this now, and just kind of thinking about the timeline. This would have been about 1995, 96. And so I would have had the 1210s, and then I just used the Newmark mixer, which just, you know, immediately was like hissing and all that, you know, like
crossfader popping and
all that stuff. And I can't even remember how you know, how did I even know about the DMC? But from my recollection, I remember like me and my mates, Kofi, it was the year Kofi won the UK Championship, so maybe it was 1996.
Yeah.
And I talked to my mate Tay, was like, I've got to go and see him. I've got to go and see it. I've got to know what I'm up against. So I convinced them to give me a lift down. Me and fucking the crew or whatever, we all, you know, went down there and
to London.
Yeah.
To the UK finals.
Yeah, I don't think I can't remember what it was, but it was some kind of showcase, and Kofi was there. And I just remember the doors. It was dead quiet, and I was just sort of like, this is pretty fucking mental, isn't it? You know, like, and someone came round. I think it might have even been DJ MK.
Oh,
but
yeah.
someone came round selling mixtapes,
Yeah.
and one of them like saw Cuba, Demolition, Pumpkin Squeeze
Oh, wow.
music.
Classic.
Yeah, and I bought Kofi's mixtape. But like it was like just this is like like I come around with all these tapes, like oh yeah, look through them and I can remember like putting that on after like the event, like it was secondary to the journey home, because putting that tape on and hearing that level of cutting and everything, it was. I didn't even know what they were what are you even doing? Do you know what I mean? And then hearing Shortcuts beat juggle with Impeach the President.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And my mate Tate was falling asleep at the wheel. And I'm in the shotgun or whatever, and I'm just like wide awake because I'm just listening to this fucking alien shit, and then it's just they're like, I'm like, Tate, it's like fucking, and I'm listening to this alien shit, my mate's half asleep, whatever, and I just was, I couldn't, I just like, and it's all about just give me more, like trying to digest this, but hearing these cuts and everything, and I remember seeing, so like 1990, what was it, 95, when Rock Raider won, and then 96 it was Noise, wasn't it?
And that's right.
So somewhere in this sort of whole thing, I ended up at Fresh 97.
Oh yeah, the thing in down south, was it?
Yeah, it was miles away,
Yeah.
mate.
But Felix Stone or somewhere like
Felix
that.
Dog, exactly.
Yeah.
God, you got a good memory. And going down there, saying Tay, convinced him to go down. And Dave De Silva came, this other guy who was like skating mad hip hop head in crew, who skated like, he was a bit older, very cool. And he, was like, oh, this guy, and I I'd already built up this I was fucking obsessed with it all now, and it's like, yeah, Fresh 97, look at this shit, Scratch Pickles, they're going to be there, we're going, mate.
Wow.
And DJ Noise was there, and we got there dead early, like it must have been like 8 o'clock in the morning, something like we'd already driven, I don't even know how far, but what I can remember is like the doors weren't open and we're all sat outside freezing, and then Scratch Pickles all come to get let in.
Right.
I'm like, fucking hell, man, they're there. They're all freezing. I just remember seeing how cold they were. And like, it's not that bad, And they're all like this, it's like, fucking hell. And we were watching everyone come in, and I don't know whether they'd even open the doors, but we just sneaked in. And then I saw fucking Noise playing Street Fighter 2.
All right. On an arcade or something.
Yeah. They had the full setup, mate. It was just like cabinet there, like in this. So it was like a big ballroom, and I've been watching like the video saw Noise win and like that whole thing, like, oh yeah, USA's going to win every single year. Then some guy from Copenhagen comes along,
Smashed it.
Mate.
He killed it.
And killed it in such a fashion that it was just like, there was just no, he was just like this clinical fucking executioner, like assassin, what you want to call him. He was just a murderer. And then it was like a new fascination, but before then, Rock Raider, and I remember, I think it might have been when I bought that Newmark mixer, there was a 1995 US final DMC tape. It was like red and white, this VHS. And on that was Swamp. It was like, I think it was the year when Swamp won. And Babu's on
Melody
it.
And all
Melodies
the guys.
on it.
Yeah.
That. So it was almost, and I went in hot, I just was, obsessively watching. I didn't know how to do any of the stuff.
Yeah.
you know, but it's like I was just going to size now, not just visiting once a month, it'd be a few times a week.
Right, okay.
You know, like I'm getting Tate to drive, like we've got to go, you know, go get Blitz, listen to whatever. So you got like Westwood, and then once a month Funkmaster Flex would be there, you know, like playing all the new stuff. But there was some kind of different magic when Flex would just bust out all the ultimate breaks, you know, start going through all that old stuff. And it's like, it's still hip hop, but it's not even, do you know what I mean? What's going on? And I think that, coupled with Q-Bert's mixtape, where he's kind of hammering all those and like, I've got to have this stuff, and just all this education, everything's just crazy, like fireworks going off all the time, you know, like with the Q-Bert's, it was always just all this ridiculous level of cuts, and how do you even do that? How and you know, and do you know what I mean? And you're in your bedroom at home and you're trying to do this stuff.
I can relate, definitely.
But mate, you know, like being at Asda and just being fucking depressed with like my situation. I remember like if I was working and the shifts had finished in the daytime, I would run home while I'd jog, because it was like 15-20 minute walk, but I would jog home because my dad wasn't home yet, so that meant I could blast it. My mum would be all right with it. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, I just became obsessed. You know, in the morning with cereal or whatever, it's like watching the DMC videos, watching Noise, you know, like and Rock Raider and like the Body Tricks and everything, and then thinking like, well, what can I do, or how can I apply myself? And it was always the beat juggles seemed to come easier or quicker than the cutting.
Right, okay.
Like me and Sai go and, you know, how do you do it? Oh, you get 2 copies of one record. Okay, you know, 2 copies, you know, all this. And how do you even afford it? You know, like at that time, like buying stuff, and it's like, how do you get 2 copies? You know, I remember having like, so you'd have the album, and then you'd have the 12-inch, you know, that's how you get round it. Do you know what I mean?
And it's very different cutting on between the two, because the 12 was always louder as well, wasn't it?
Always louder, and then like, you know, your lines won't line up, you know, you're just like, oh yeah, you put lines on it. Yeah, that's how they do it. Put a line on it there, and then you know where it is, all that. Now the lines won't line up, and then it's like the next test is like, okay, so I've got to memorize these 2 different lines, but just making it work, you know, all that, like, and the desperation of like having to get out of Asda, you know, plus like, like, you know, I had beef with my brother as well, like, and I wanted to like just rub his nose. I wanted to be sick at it just to spite him. You know, like this whole thing. Like,
prove a point.
Yeah. Like, and at that point, it was very much like that's what I needed to do. That's what I needed. You know, so I think it just gave me the drive, and I would try and learn this stuff, and but the beat juggles seem to come quicker and easier. You know, because it's, you know, pattern related, like so is the cuts and that, but if you don't know the technique, like everybody's free and easy with the techniques now in terms of like teaching and everything, but at that time, you know, like 95, or good luck.
Yeah, it was a mystery, wasn't it?
Mystery.
It was a mystery, and you know, you didn't even know what half of these techniques were called. You just like hear them, and you know, you just hear like this new scratching sound, and what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, mate, all of that, and like not, you know, just, I don't know, but like, but yeah, I think with the skating and like just this like confidence, you know, and there's no way that I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I can't not do it, you know. Like, so that was it. I had my sights set on the DMC, and when we went into Fresh 97, I went up to Noise, you know, and I was like, can I have your autograph? And I was playing Street Fighter 2. He's like, do you want to go with this? I'm like, fucking let's go, mate, I'll kill you, you know, like, so it was just, and then I felt like I was tripping, mate, you know, I'm like, what? I'm playing Street Fighter 2 with Noise whilst asking for his autograph, you know.
Oh, that's surreal.
And he's like, yo, you, like, and he's like, you know, it's like, I can't remember what I was like, I'm like, oh, I'm a DJ, you know. It's like, oh, yeah, what's your name? Like, Peter Parker. And then when I asked for his autograph, it was like two to Peter Parker, keep webbing it up.
Wicked.
And I was like, fuck me, man, he knows who Peter Parker is. That's ridiculous. You know, like, I was just like, oh, this guy. But, you know, I don't know, like that, it was just crazy, mate. It was like, just, yeah, like the sort of reality and the dream all really started to like overlap, you know? And then Fresh 97, like just watching the Scratch Pickles and like watching Dave Ruff do his thing with Mark One.
Yeah.
Mark One had a Man United shirt on, you know, and I was just like, you know, unapologetically, like we're here and that's that, you know, he's playing like the fucking Professionals theme. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, like I love this, you know, like Dave Ruff's going, yeah, we're the Professionals, you know, like whatever, like, you know, like all in this grand ballroom, and then like same time there's like B-Boy Ivan and all the like just the sickest of the sick at that time, and Jurassic 5, it was their first gig. Like shout out to Mick Mottershead, who basically put the whole thing on, and it's just like life changing stuff, mate. And going and watching that and seeing how they perform, and then Scratch Pickles and like Noise is there, and they're all like, yeah, Noise, you know, and Noise is just like, and just this whole and all that, and just seeing the love, and I was just like, right, this is it, you know, like even more fuel for that fucking fire, mate. And yeah, like 1997, that was the year that I entered, so it was about a year and a half. About 18 months of like hardcore driven, like this is what I must do to just enter in.
And where was the heat that you entered first?
Sheffield. So Sheffield was the first heat, and you know, I'm like, Tay, you know, you've got to fucking drive me up, or I don't know, whatever. I might have borrowed my mum's car, or I don't know, but I went and. Yeah, I got there in the daytime. There's about 30 kids in the room, and at that time, like my confidence, I felt really good. Because I got there nice and early, and they introduced, they're like, right, yeah, so everyone's going to get 3 minutes, and then we're going to go through and break it down, and then you're going to have some finalists in the night. And I watched and listened, you know, to what everyone was doing, and I was just like, fuck, man, I've got this, I've got it, you know, because I think what I was, like the level of what I was studying, you know, and just, I went in really hard for the juggles. My cutting, I didn't really feel like I had that much confidence with, you know, so if I remember back, I don't think I really had like any sections where there was like, you know, cuts. Or there might have been a little bit, but it was just juggle, you know, but I was just doing hard shit straight off, you know. And and then, so, I was like, I think I've got it, you know. And then they read out who was going to be the finalists, or like, in the evening, and, you know, read my name out, and I'm like, fucking mint. And, but then fast forward a few hours, you know, to the evening, and I can remember like coming up the stairs, and the condensation, because it was like an old mill or whatever, you know, at the top floor, like it's fucking sold out rooms. The condensation was the first thing I remember. It was like slippy. It's like, why is it slippy? Yeah, I'd been up here earlier on and it was fine. Why is it slippy? You know. And then opening the doors, just waft, you know, of heat and intensity, and the crowd, and I shit myself. Right. Then it was just like adrenaline. Yeah. And because at this point I'd never even DJ'd in front of a crowd. Okay. Do you know what I mean?
So this is like your first gig.
Yeah.
Wow. It was a DMC regional final in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Talk about the deep end.
yeah. And I don't know, like, wow. So, and like I shit myself, and I don't mean like, and not actually, you know, like your ass falls out or whatever, like the adrenaline. And I think about it now, and like, you know, it was like a real hurdle. You know, like at that time, health and safety wasn't really happening.
No,
you know,
wasn't a thing, was it?
so mate, they got like the DMC things, and then they've got like the barrier. The barrier couldn't have been more than 1 foot or 2 foot in front of the DMC, you know, the desk, like the famous things that you always watch on
the
videos.
tables, yeah.
And it was full, it was rammed, and the kids are leaning over like that. And I'm fucking shaking, mate.
Right.
So all that time when I was practicing everything, my dad's a plumber and his hands shake anyway. I just remember, like, my dad's got these giant sausage fingers, you know, and I like look at my fingers. I'm like, I've got my mum's fingers. So I'm like, I'm so grateful because there's no way you'd be able to cut it up. Look at that, man. Like, you know, like, and I just remember my dad's hands shaking, and I was like, oh, and it's just everything. It became like a psychological battle, mind field, and mate, like just trying to do the set, I was shaking so hard, and I can remember, or like it was whether it's my own memory or my own mind did this, but like somebody saying, "Look at his hands shaking, he's shitting it."
Right. While you was doing your
While I was doing it, I could hear it, you know, and I'm queuing up, and the fucking stylist is going.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah, I know.
It's the worst,
I know exactly how that is.
It's the
Especially
worst.
putting the needle on your sticker or into the groove. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, and I'm a fucking mess, you know,
Yeah.
like, in the time that I had, I remember like the queuing, you know, it was really hard, and then I'd find it, and I'd, you know, have your tape on at an angle so it'd get you straight to where you want to go, you know, and it's like, that's all I need to find, you know, and fucking doing that, and I did some of the juggles, I pulled some of it off, and I knew, you know, it was like, I think that battle that I was having with myself, you know, from doing this, being in the deep end, which was just lack of experience, I hadn't thought about it on that level, you know, like that inexperience, like, so I can only remember Fast T. Shout out to Fast T.
Big up Fast T.
Yeah, Fast T. So he had the experience, man. You know, he's like, but I don't know. But I remember he was like I knew even in the afternoon, it's like, God, he looks different. He looks different from everyone else. What is it? That must be the experience. You know what I mean? I didn't know this at the time. But he's just so comfortable, and he just smashed it. And it was like my dream getting smashed. You know, it was like heartbreaking, mate. Because at that time, I am all in. I'm all invested. So it's like, you have to do this. I need a sip of this shit.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to do this. You have to do this. So all that bravado, all that balls, all that confidence, everything that I built up, whatever it was, you know, was leveled. And then it was just this battle. I've just got to get through it. That's all it was. It wasn't even like, I've just got to get through it. And people breathing down my neck and everything. And that was it. He smashed it, and then they read out, you know, who's won and that. And it's like, Fast T, you know, like, yeah. And I think, I don't know, that I came second. Like,
decent, though. For you know, to even get through the eliminations on your first attempt at a DMC regional, because back then there wasn't easy, was there? You know, there was like 30, 40, 50 people. Yeah. You know, it was tough even just to make it through the top 8. So man, you did really well for your first time.
Yeah, and but like it was like, and then it was like something I didn't know. I'm just getting crushed, and like, it's just like, it's over, innit? You know, and then it's like, but for the UK final, it's first and second place go through.
Right, great.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, like, no way.
Brilliant.
And that was it. Like, so then the next, it was like, right, that guy, you know, like, the next obsession was like, I've got to beat him. I know I know I'm better. I know I'm better than what I did. That was the next thing. It was like, fuck, you know, it's not over. It's not over. You know,
still a chance.
Yeah, and then like, and that year, for the first time, it was like the final was being held outside of London. It was in Manchester.
It was at the boardwalk, wasn't it?
It was Sankey Soap.
Oh, Sankey Soap. I was the boardwalk the year after.
Yeah, so Sankey's. So it was at Sankey's. Guest judge, DJ Noise.
Wow.
Fuck off.
No way.
Oh my God. You know, like, and I'm. It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
Like all this is meant to be. This is it. You know, and like just having that. Like, I don't know, building faith in it. You know, self-belief, whatever. All I wanted to do was beat Fast T. That was it. But then that day came, mate, and fucking got there in the daytime. Pogo's there.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it's like this new level, and Pogo's got them Chinese balls, you know, like like Labyrinth, you know, like David Bowie has like fucking 3 of them, like, but Pogo's just there. And I remember just I'm like a fish out of water at all this, mate. Like Pogo's there, like chewing gum really fast, but just doing these balls, you know, like zoning. Yeah. You know, I'm just like, I'm not in any zone, you know. I'm just there, I'm like, all in the moment. I didn't know about any of that, you know. And who else? XL. Shout out to Pogo. XL was there,
Yeah, Hugh Wackman.
Hugh Wackman, like...
both dope DJs. Pogo, Hugh Wackman, amazing DJs.
Prime Kutz.
Oh, wow. Big up Joel.
Yeah. Yes, mate. Like, all these guys, man. Yeah, Joel. Like, Prime Kutz was Mech from Dublin. Yeah. Shout out to Mech. Yeah, like, that was crazy. Mech, man, that was an education as well. Like he was... we got on, you know, like, I buzzed off him, and that was crazy. Like, I don't know whether I remember this wrong or like, but he was like uber Jimi Hendrix fan, and he set fire to his record. Yeah, like,
and he
and he set, or he went to do it, the bouncers gripped him and threw him out.
No, really?
Yeah.
Why was doing his routine?
Yeah. I might be just reliving a weird fantasy, and that might never happen, but I'm fairly certain it did. Like, but apologies, mate, if it didn't go like that. But like, wow, you know. And I remember like Prime Kutz, it didn't, like, something happened, and you know how sometimes you do it and it didn't quite go right or whatever, and I know like he had some difficulties, and and like XL is just this huge towering like figure. It's just like this, you know, like, oh my God, like all these guys, all like characters, you know, like
proper legends as well.
Yeah, legends, like, you know, and then just me, and like, you know, with a fucking Spider-Man t-shirt on, you know, like, just, I don't know, just feeling like, but again, like, it was different. Like, I felt like it was for me, like this thing, and like at that time, it's like, I have to do this, you know, and I've been practicing. I was fucking Wu-Tang crazy at that point. And I think I'd done something with what was something with Mystery of Chess Boxing, and then like Old Dirty Bastard and the Cellar Dwellers album. And it was like Cellar Dwellers mentioned Peter Parker. He's like, oh, like Peter Parker, I keep my secrets from the rest of them. And then like Old Dirty, like, I'm the one man army, you know, Ason and all that. Awesome. So I was like, oh, I'm the one man army, Peter Parker. I've never been tucking out. I keep my secrets from the rest of them and all this, you know, like that was fucking, the crowd like, ah, and I'm like, and it was different. I knew at that point, like, or like, the fear had gone, you know.
Yeah, you felt more comfortable. on stage and
I
that.
felt more comfortable with it, and I was like, it was working, everything, you know, my cueing was okay, and fucking, I'm doing it, I'm pulling it off, and I was happy. I remember, like, I was happy with it, you know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was the outcome of that?
I came third.
You came third in the UK?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I came third.
Wow.
Yeah, and Noise was handing out the prizes. And he's like, I remember you.
All right.
I'm like, yeah.
Street Fighter 2 session. Wow.
It's like, I remember you. And I'm shaking his hand, man. And like, crowd. A guy that I'd met, a guy called Gino, and he had this. So at Fresh 97, there was all these stalls. And I was just obsessive at that time. Like, bought Mixmaster Mike's mixtape off him.
Wow.
I had a fucking Razor Sharp Records top that I got from Amiga in Crewe, and I got my mum to do a number on it because it was a long sleeve t-shirt. She made it short sleeve for me. Mixmaster was like, where did you get that top from? And I'm like, just got it. It's like, do you want to swap it?
No way.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I can't, mate. Like, I love it. Like, whatever. Can I have your autograph, though? And he's like, oh, yeah, you buy me mixtape. Like, yep. All that, you know, and getting Cuba's autograph, shortcuts. Anyway, so Gino, this guy, had, like, it was called Cafe du Funk, and he had, like, a catalogue. And so I'm on the stage in Sankey Soap. Gino's there in the crowd, and he's holding up a VHS like this, and it was the Scratch Pickles X-Men Battle.
Wow, the ITF thing. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, legendary.
So at Fresh 97, I got the ITF #1 newsletter.
Yeah.
And this newsletter, you know, a journalist was sort of saying how it went. So I'd been reading about this battle. You know, like this thing, and you know, there's these pictures like Total Eclipse, man. Who the fuck's Total Eclipse?
Yeah.
What a sick name.
Yeah.
What? He's in the Executioners. What? You know what? X-Men at that time, you know, like, what the fuck? You know, like, and got the belt,
Yeah.
you know, and all
Yeah,
that, like,
yeah.
you know, like into wrestling and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this sick as shit. Anyway, Gino, he's holding up this VHS. And just that night, it was just like a dream, mate. Like, I bought that VHS off him for a tenner, and I was more chuffed about that. I won some headphones and some other bits and bats, I don't know, whatever, but I got this fucking video, you know, here's my new, the thirst for the, you know, the next shit or whatever.
Yeah. The new sauce.
Yeah, the new sauce, and I won some styluses and that or whatever, and just like, and went home. But like, it was mad, like, I still like came third, and down there I was back at Asda though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know
The harsh reality of it. Yeah, I know.
Like, you know, like, here's your styluses and everything, and you know, I got like my new stuff. But I was back in Asda, and
did you get like gigs or bookings from coming third in the UK at that time? Because DMC at that time was a big deal, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It was massive, you know. Like, did you get like, you know, more opportunities to perform? And
so here's what happened. Like, the next payday after the DMC, so maybe like a couple of weeks later, I was like, right, go to Manchester, go Fat City, blow all my pay, you know, go get the latest 12s or whatever. And I'm in Fat City, flicking through the records, and Mark Ray comes in. And at that time, like, they would keep some records back, you know, whatever. Mark's like, oh, I got my records, whatever. Because I'm earwigging everything, you know, like, that was one of the things, you know, you go and you just sort of overhear everything, and like, oh, you know, like,
it was an experience when I go in that place.
Yeah, like, and then Mark was like, you were that kid from the DMC the other week. And I'm like, yeah, Peter Parker, yeah. And he's like, I was one of the judges.
Right.
And I put you down for first. I was like, what? Like, what? Like, oh, you know, he's like, so I'm Mark, and I've got a record label called Grand Central. And I was like, yeah, I know the label because I bought like AIM stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I've got a record label, and we've got loads and loads of work on. Like, got these tours coming up, and would you be interested?
Wow.
Would you be interested in being a part of it? I was like, yeah.
I'll have some of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, mate. It was like, I don't know, this like tiny little chance encounter, you know, like at that time on that day, you know, and that was it. It changed everything, mate. Like it was like let me take your number. You know, I think I had a pager at that time.
Okay.
But give me your phone number or whatever, you know, like, and yeah, it was crazy, mate. And then the next thing was like, I don't even know whether he sort of said what it was at that time while he was in the shop, but he's like, the first thing was Tony D. It's like, yeah, Tony D, this New Jersey producer, he's made an album and we're doing the UK tour. He's made beats for an MC called YZ and he's coming with him to this tour. Do you want to, you know, you want to be in the band, you know, like this?
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, you know, like, what do I have to do? And he's like, just do what you were doing, you know, like, okay, so just scratching and that, yeah.
Brilliant. Wow.
Yeah, and then like, so fast forward maybe a couple of weeks, and the first day of rehearsal, it was upstairs at Sankey's.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And yeah, so first day of rehearsal, Sneaky's there, like a double bass player. And I'd been going and watching Sneak Eardrum. Do you remember? So there was a night called Eardrum at Collider, which is now Matt and Fred's on Oldham Street. And Eardrum was like Mark Warren. Like, so it was like, it was hip hop and jungle.
Yeah.
And the jungle would only start at midnight. And but it was mixed with live musicians.
Okay.
So you'd have Sneak on double bass and James Ford playing the drums. But then like the resident DJs, Mark Ray, Mark One, Chubby Grooves, Mr. Scruff, Fotel, I think maybe.
Wow. All the Manchester legends there.
So my mate Pete was at uni and he stays in Eddie Coleman Court in Salford. So I'd go up and crash at his, you know, we'd go, just get tated or whatever, just go, and the pilgrimage was going to Eardrum, you know, and watching your fucking heroes, you know, Sneak on a double bass. Just like, I'd never even seen anyone on a double bass before, you know, like, and James Ford, like, it's just an incredible drummer. Like, James Ford, now, just go look up James Ford. All right, James, like, it's crazy. Like, he just finished producing Beth Gibbons' latest album, and like, it's crazy actually. But like, so, and then Mushroom from Massive Attack, and I'd go and watch them, and then first day of rehearsal, they're Sneaky, you know, like, and Mark had drafted him to play like double bass, so. Yeah, so like Mark would be kind of running things, you know, whatever fashion that would be, and then I just all I had to do was cut, you know, like purely like this kind of pure, you know, yeah, pure, you know, for what I don't know, it's crazy, and yeah, like went to Mark's, and I was staying at Mark's, and YZ and Tony D were staying there. So, you know, we go like, I'm just in the house, and Tony D's getting absolutely tatered, like on stuff that I didn't even know, you know, like crazy. Like I was like, I fucking made it. I've made it because I'm in Matt Ray's living room. There's YZ, you know, like there's Tony D, you know, just watching your MTV Raps or fucking whatever, I don't know. And Tony D's getting absolutely twatted and offering me this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, you know, whatever. And then like next thing, I go to the toilet and YZ's there, and I remember seeing his suitcase, and he had this suitcase, and he's got all this Ralph Lauren shit.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my god, man. I'm like, oh, I like your shirts, you know, like this, like, because I knew he was seeing that stuff, and he's like, pick one. Like, what? You know, and he's like, I like you, Pete. You're like this. I'm like, what? You know, like, and it, yeah. And he, so next thing, I've got this like double XL, like Ralph Lauren, like polo shirt on, and, you know, and yeah, it's just fucking crazy, mate. And like, on that first day of rehearsal though, like when we're doing all their stuff, they all, like, it was time for a break and that. And I'm just in seventh heaven. You know, I couldn't let it go. I didn't want to stop anything. And Sneak was still playing. He played a bass line that was like uber dark. And I think I might have only had one turntable, or I don't know. But at that point, I was just into the one turntable shit. So
the drumming.
The drumming.
Nice.
So that was it. I had like a Toasted Marshmallow record. And I'm like, boom, you know, there we are. Mark and that comes back in. It's like, Parker, what the hell are you doing? You know, like that, you know. I'm like, yeah, you know, like just fucking, it's crazy. And then he's like, right, and maybe not straight. He's like, do you want to do that at their thing? You know, like you two can do that during their show. We're like, fucking yeah, like. But when me and Sneak were doing it, I knew, you know, like it's just fucking crazy.
You got a vibe.
Yeah, like the connection was like, that was it, you know. It was like that fucking lightning moment where it was just, it bonded us, because he was like a year older, but we, you know, I'd never met anyone like it. I'd never met anyone like any of these people. Do you know what I mean? I'm from Crew, and I want to do this thing, and. And that's just how it was. But then Sneak, he was like close to my age, so we just kind of latched onto each other. And I think because we were in this mad experience, you know, and all, next thing we're just touring around the UK, you know, and but doing this thing that we've only just made up.
Wow, that's bonkers. So that's how Fingathing was born then?
It was how it was born, yeah. Straight, like, no, it was like, right, you're Sneaky, I will, you know, whatever. And then it was like, break, go. And then, yeah, it just happened. So, and it was without any communication or anything. That's how, yeah, that was the, and,
wow.
Yeah, and I like, one in particular, I remember, like, Glasgow, and Dundee, like all the Scots, man, like we would go in and we'd be in like in Edinburgh on a Monday night, you know, who goes out on a Monday night, venues rammed, you know, because they're there to see Tony D and all that. Like, Sneak, man, let's fucking, you know, like, let's kill it, you know, like, let's fucking do it, you know. And like, God, it's like, when we would do it, the reaction was bonkers, you know, like it was like, and I just remember Scotland in particular, because they have it anyway on a large scale, even on a Monday night, you know. Yeah. I could feel it, and I suppose Mark's just like, fucking hell, what have I got here, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Then a couple of days, like during that whole time, Mark's like, do you think you could make beats, you know? And I'm like, yeah, and I didn't. And just like that whole kind of the conviction started to build, you know. I had no idea what I was doing, you know. Even
did you have like equipment at that time, like a sampler or anything?
No, but in Mark's house, Mark was like, right, come round and I'm gonna show you everything.
So you went to Mark's and he was, you know, showing you all this music equipment and how to make beats and all of that. So how did that go?
So Mark was like, he's like, come round and we'll make a beat. And at that time, I had got these white labels of Evil D from Beat Miners, and it was like Evil D drum loops. I'm definitely like that was definitely one component, and I can't remember the other bits. But he's like, come round with some records and we'll make a beat. And at this time, I'm just fucking fizzing. I'm like, I know I can do this. Just show me. And he gave me an EMU sampler, a MIDI keyboard, and I already had an Atari ST.
Okay.
But the Atari ST I had was so fucking ghetto. It wasn't like the normal ones that have like the floppy drive built in.
Right, okay.
Mine was like a chopped down version, and I had this fucking like what them like five, you know, the old floppy, these cardboard things.
Yeah.
I had one of them.
Hardly had any date on them.
All that.
Yeah.
So and I've been chatting to Sneak. I'm shit, man. You know, I should come back a little bit, but I'm like Cubase.
Yeah. This
is what you do. That I didn't use that for my first beat. My first beat, I just went round and I made it at Mark's on his stuff using this equipment, and I thought it was sick. I was just like, oh, it's fucking sick, you know. Like, listen to that, man. It's well moody, you know. I was just fucking and I can't remember where the gig was, but Tony D was in the back of the car, and we were outside of Mark's. And I was like, can I play me beat? And I played it in. And then he was like, that's fucking whack, mate. It's like, it's it's whack. It's like, it's obvious as fuck.
Wow.
All the samples, you know, yeah. And,
heartbreaking.
Yeah, he was in the back and I was in the front, so he didn't see my reaction. But it was heartbreaking, yeah. Like, you know, like, yeah, maybe like, but with me, maybe like, you know, like these things like happen and you get pushed into a corner, you know what I mean? And so something else happened. In that time when I was going and seeing Sneak and watching Airdrum and all that and staying at Pete's, I was in the corridor this one time and a student on his floor had their door wide open and they put Introducing on.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm in the hall and I hear the fucking intro of that. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it because there was something about that composition and how like there was so many samples put dead close together as like, and it was just the intro, you know, and the way it was put together, and then the fucking pianos, you know, what's it say, producing.
Yeah.
The fucking piano comes on. I'm getting goosebumps just reliving this shit, man. I was stood in the hallway because it was near the lifts. And I wouldn't move. I remember knocking on. I'm like, what's this? You know, and like, oh, it's DJ Shadow. And yeah, and then here comes the new lesson. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there's the whole scratch DJing thing and the DMC, and that got me to this point. Then all of a sudden, I'm sharing a room with like artists who aren't scratch DJs. They're just artists, whether rappers, beat makers, whatever. And Mark, you know, Mark's kind of done a bit of everything as well. And Tony D, yeah, it fucking broke my heart, yeah. And it really fucked me off.
Yeah,
you know, I was pissed off, man.
Yeah.
Like, and unfortunately, like, it jarred our relationship. you know, and he was probably just being honest.
Yeah.
And that was actually exactly what I needed to hear, you know, exactly, you know, and but for that point onwards, like I had beef, you know, with it because and then I started listening because, so Grand Central were giving me all the releases and I'm listening to everything now with a different set of ears. I started to dissect everything. Kind of like you do when you're watching the DJ videos and the DMC, you know. But I'm starting to dissect the music and but have the same, you know, and I'm listening to Tony's stuff and I'm like, I'm gonna beat that shit. You know what I mean? Just because I was it fucking hurt my feelings. You know? But like I'm a mad sensitive guy and I've been and you know, here I am in this thing where like sensitivity won't cut the mustard.
Yeah. Like
the DMC, I can't like, so I started to just have attitude. That was how, you know, that was my barrier. Like I would have this scowl, this look, you know, where I'm like, fuck you all. You know, and that ain't me. I'm like, but like that's if the like the DMCs and all that. That was how I knew I had to that's how I had to present myself.
Yeah.
But I think in that, like, I just felt like such a fish out of water with backstage with everybody else. I felt alone, man. Like, because I'm going through it here. You know what I mean? I'm going through this fucking battle of like, I can't go anywhere else. I've got nowhere to hide. I can't talk to anyone about this. I can't show like, oh, I'm scared but I fucking am.
Yeah.
But then I just have this attitude, you know, like, and that, and that was it. So that was the delivery. I'm raised on like, you know, it's all this metal stuff where attitude that's where it goes. That's it, you know, like skating, everything, you know, all this, even fucking wrestling, you know, all this. But like, I just felt comfortable behind that. And I think that didn't actually do me any favours, do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't forthcoming with people.
Okay.
Even with the DMC, behind the scenes and everything, I felt alone. And I felt like that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
You know, because I couldn't let any of this stuff on, you know? And even with all the other DJs there, I don't know how it would have come across, but it maybe like, oh, that guy's just full of attitude.
Yeah.
When I'm not. I'm just fucking in this shell.
Yeah. It's like a mask, isn't it? That you got to have done, you know. Sometimes it can work for people, sometimes it can't, you know. But I suppose it's a life lesson, isn't it? You know.
Absolutely. Like, so that all that stuff, all these life lessons that, and it's all just playing out in real time. It's like, you know, I hadn't been like doing a regular DJ slot anywhere or anything. I'm just in a fucking sold out room doing this with these dudes. And, you know, me and Sneak are doing our thing. Just formed this alliance, you know. It wasn't even, it was like a bond straight away, you know. And I'd never met anyone like him. And he had what I needed. He had the musical theory. Like, he's like, you know, with learning about it, it's like I'm a grade 8 cellist. Like, what is that? You know, oh, you do grades when you study music, you know, like, fucking hell, do you? You know, like, what, you know, like grades and that grade 8, it's like, that's as high as you can go. I'm like, fucking hell, you're sick, you know, like, you're already sick. Classically trained, like, I love, like, you know, like, so soundtracks and that, I always, when you're a kid, Rocky theme, any of this stuff, I was always drawn to that kind of thing, you know, and Lalo Schifrin, and all these guys, and all of a sudden I'm starting to see and hear things differently, you know, and I'm like, fucking hell, Sneak, man, like, if we can combine, like, and you can do that shit, so all we've got to do is come up with a riff, and you can do it, you know, and at the same time, I've got Tony D fucking dissing a beat, but then Mark is empowering me by giving me this equipment. This is it, and I've got this Atari ST, this broken ass one. I'm like, Sneak, Mark's giving me all this stuff. He kind of giving it to yeah, he'd given it me, or like on a long-term lend. I'd moved to Manchester at this time because I'm like, I'm fucking here and I'm doing it. Like, so the first flat's like fucking nice, but you know, it didn't. I'm like, I'm in New York, or the equivalent. If you're from Crewe, you're in New York. You know, like. So I've got this equipment and this obsessive drive, you know, and like, yeah, like, and DJ Shadow is now the pinnacle, you know, and that was it. That was the next thing, you know. I want to be like this guy. Oh, look, he's on his own. He's surrounded by records, but he's on his own. Like, I like that, you know, that idea of this fucking solitude. But again, it's these, I don't know, like, feeling like you've got to go off and like find, you know, you go your own path, like Superman when he gets his fucking green shit or whatever and chucks it. It's like, I've got to leave. Here's my comfortable life and like the thing, you know, whatever. No, I've got to go where it's freezing cold and, you know, like, and that's where I need to be, you know, to sort of become. And like all of a sudden, like I'm in a flat with my mate Rich, big up Rich. Nice one for that, and he was like, we can move in and share a place, and I'm like, sneak, fucking Mark's giving me all this shit. Don't do that. Sorry, let's just go back. So I'm in the flat, I'm like, Sneak, got an Atari ST, we just need Cubase. He's like, oh, I know how to use Cubase.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, fuck,
great.
Mate, yeah. So I've got this, like, and then like going out on the road with Mark, and they're like, right, go digging. So even when we were in Scotland, like, we get up there late, and these record shops, particularly Groucho's in Dundee, which is a shop that I love, before they moved to their new premises, they kept the shop. The shop was closed, but they let us in anyway.
Okay. Decent.
Yeah, just like, oh my God, this shop's shut, but we're in here. And it's like, yeah, crates all on the floor, pound a record, whatever, going in and just having Mark, like, and, you know, these people around where it's just like, this is exactly what I need, you know, and it's like, yeah, you go digging for your beats and, you know, you find your own thing. And with fucking Tony D and all that, even though I've got mad beef. And me and YZ really hit it off. Like, he's such a fucking top guy, man. Shout to YZ. And I felt comfortable there, you know. And Sneak's like, I know how to use Cubase. So I'm like, fucking let's on, mate. So, and then Sneak shows me how to use it. And already by this time, it's like, you know, we're already working for a record label, you know.
Okay,
And then, so that from, do you think you can make beats, you know, then becomes like, not just making them, you know, it's going to be the fucking hottest shit, you know, or just having that mindset, you know. Yeah, and it was like, I was already doing it. We were already doing it. Like, when I met Sneak, that was the first tune, Fathead. That bass line was the Fathead bass line. The beat, the scratch that I did, that was what I did in that room when I first met him, using the toasted marshmallow.
Did you record that live? Or
no.
Did you like multi-track?
Oh yeah. So what would that? So just to fast forward, like not even that, like a couple of months or whatever. I'm recording what we make on the Cubase and onto a mini disc. Then next thing, from Tony D, his tour finishes, but then Ray and Christian have finished their album. Mark's got big plans, and even though they're a production outfit, Mark wanted a full live band because he knew that going out and gigging is how you can generate a massive fan base and sales, you know, all this stuff. It's like, so how do you do that? He's a fucking mastermind. He'd already been doing this for however long, but I just saw, I suppose, a little bit like a father figure. Yeah. You know, like a
mentor.
Yeah, mentor, exactly. Because I'm 21. you know what I mean? I'm 21 and like, yeah, just soaking everything up, and I suppose just going out and doing gigs and like it's already happening, you know, and it's like, well, I know what makes a good beat and that, and I suppose like the time from going of like, okay, you can't use that stuff. If a DJ's already putting that stuff up there, it's like it's too obvious.
Yeah, I get you.
And I think that's what Tony D was basically saying.
Yeah.
You know, like
just a bit harsher.
Yeah.
He delivered it like it's that harsh reality.
Yeah. The harsh reality, man. They're just, you know, yeah. And but I'm going out and I'm digging, you know, and but I was always drawn back to things from my youth. Because my mum and dad had records. My dad had Jeff Love records. That was like one of my earliest memories is Jeff Love's Big Terror movie themes. And orchestral stuff, the Jaws theme, you know, being sat there, like, it scares me. I like it.
Yeah.
You know. And then I suppose like with the metal and everything and all, like my brother, you know, he was very much rebellious, and so I just, you know, Terminator, Warriors, Dirty Harry, Scarface, everything, before I'm supposed to see any of that stuff, that was just commonplace, you know, the Warriors music, this, like, all, you know, like this edge. I always was very much drawn to like the dark stuff, but like, fucking hell, man, Sneak, you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh, let's go, you know, so, and that was it, just like obsessive, finding stuff, and then started making these beats, and then I was recording them onto mini disc and then playing them on the Rain Christian tour bus, you know, and everybody was all ears. Like that's what, like, you know, all of them guys, like I love all of them guys so much because they were just older and experienced, but it was just like this, the where I was going and doing the DJ battle stuff, and it was me against the world.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't really like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I preferred it.
Yeah.
And I think, so, like, I didn't have, with the battle DJ and everything, and it wasn't a mindset of like, wasn't all love. And it wasn't
it was harsh.
It was harsh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, I entered the same battle as you in '98. That was my first battle in the Bobolk.
Okay.
That was intense. You know, that was my first experience of the DMC. I'd battled before that, but my first experience of the DMC was that 1998 Bobolk on that rainy afternoon, 50 hardcore DJs, no one saying a word, not open to the public, everyone waiting to get on, do their turn. You had to speak afterwards as well. Remember after you did your set, and it was harsh, man. And I think they took like 8 people through.
Yerstad there as well. Was
Yeah, man. There was quite a few people.
Woody was in the crowd.
Yeah, but I think that might have been the nighttime thing.
Oh right, yeah, sure.
I didn't make it through the nighttime thing. It was my first time, and you know, I bombed really bad, like, but it was harsh reality.
I can't even remember that, mate. I mean, I like, so yeah, like in between all that time, it's like, you know, like, I suppose, like, when, like, seeing Pogo and XL and like their level, and it was like I was doing this stuff. It was like means to an end almost.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that I couldn't win, or like I felt in my heart it wasn't something that I can strive to. It's like, I think I've done enough.
Yeah.
It's like the opportunity that I was looking for was the first thing that came, you know, like, and all of a sudden it was like my trajectory just became different. And I think with Sneak, you know, and that bond, it was all just like, right, I think we've just created our own thing. It's now us against the world.
Yeah.
And I think Mark saw that, you know, not only in the live stuff that we were doing at that time, like, and me going and, you know, me and Sneak were spending time and making these beats and that, and then the reactions, and then after a few times, Mark's like, "Do you want a record deal?" You know? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm, you know, we're part of, it's gone from just being Tony D and YZ to a 10-piece live band, you know, and getting on a sleeper bus, you know, going around Europe, and having these experiences. I'm just still a little scout, you know, and just like, and very much felt like the naughty, like, you know, like, oh, but I can be me, and everyone's into it. All I've got to do is just go have a laugh.
Yeah.
Just like, fucking, oh my God, like, so I can just get blitzed all the time and just have a laugh. That's all. And we just got to turn up and do a good gig.
Sounds great.
yeah, and it was, you know, like that's exactly what it was. It was crazy. Like within months of doing that DMC, I was just, before I came here today.
The 97 one.
Yeah. So before the 90, I will get to the 98 thing, I guess. But like, so 1998 was coming, and but I'm touring around Europe with Ray and Christian. And this one time, mate, we're in a place called Kristiansand in Norway, supporting Massive Attack.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
what a gig!
Yeah, outside stage, looking out onto the sea, but in between that, you've got like this kind of beach area, which in the evening was full of people, 12, 13,000 people, you know, and I'm just. But I had real imposter syndrome because, you know, I'm just like, this is all a bit too mad. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm there and I'm just like, I'm looking at the fucking rider and thinking, what can I nick? You know, like, and just like, you know, like, what, everything's free. You know, like, and just this.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, it's just bonkers, mate. And like, you know, that Ray and Christian, that crew, so like Chris Crooks, who's like a percussionist, and he, again, like a mentor, you know, he really taught me about digging and that, and I just found him fascinating because he would have headphones on, you know, and I'm like, oh, what are you listening to, Chris? You know, he's in his own world and he's like just listening to some people hitting something in a forest somewhere, you know, like, or some chanting, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, Parker, you've got to listen to this, you know. I'm like, fucking hell, Chris. So I'm like, yeah, this guy's tapped, but I love it, you know, like, and, you know, and Viva, and so Mark's album, or like Mark and Steve's album, shout to Mark and Steve, like that album was huge, Northern Sulphuric Soul, but the vocalist Bev, it's the same age, like, well, she was like maybe a year old, like, so it was like me, Sneak and Bev's uber naughty, so we were just like, we were all just up to mischief, and we could get away with it, you know, like anywhere, and that's all it was, you know, like for them years, it was like I was learning my craft. I was still doing the cutting, it just all went hand in hand, but the production, instead of being like, you know, all hip hop and stuff that I was listening to, like the Grand Central stuff was like instrumental shit and that. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Don't need an MC, great. But what if I took records, you know, and then you know, you can just build narratives, because noise, you know, it's all just kicking off, mate. Like I start seeing noise, and noise is coming. Like we do Roskilde in Denmark, and noise comes as a special guest. And I'm like, oh my god, you know. Next thing, I'm doing gigs in Nottingham, and Mick Mottershead, who put on Fresh 97, he's from Derby.
Right, Mick Blue Eyes.
Mick Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Next thing, me and Mick, and it's like, and we just find this common ground, you know, like, because we're just from similar backgrounds, just, you know, proper working class, you know. Yet here I am, and then we get offered a record deal, and I just want to bring everyone in, and then doing gigs in Nottingham, and did this one with Noise and like Static's there.
Wow.
And it's like, and at this time, and I was really like more comfortable in that. But it was mad, mate, because there was also these dudes from New York, XS, Was it Excess?
The turntablist.
Yeah,
Wow,
turntablist, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sugar Kutz, this other guy.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah,
like,
Sugar Kutz, man.
yeah, but he had some beef. Like, he was horrible. He was horrible to me because it turned out one of his mates was Peter Parker,
Right, okay.
you know, in New York, you know, and Noise was Noise, you know, so it was the respect was there. But I'm in Nottingham, and Noise very much at that point was like, you know, like, I think you're dope, you know, I think you're dope, and I'm like, yes,
Wow.
you know, like,
Well,
that's yeah.
From a legend as well.
Yeah, and but then they were all there chatting off or whatever, and Noise is like, come over here, Pete. And he's like, oh, this is Peter Parker, you know, and fucking, he just blanked me.
The Sugar Kutz dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
he just blanked me.
Crazy.
And I had no idea why, you know, he didn't say or nothing, you know. And Excess, I remember, like, he kind of sort of let on a little bit, you know, but the Sugar Kutz, and he was very much like, they did a thing in New York called Table Turns or something,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's,
Yeah.
I get it, you know, I get it, like, yeah, you beef because, like, your crew, you know, there's a Peter Parker in your crew, you know, and here's, like, another one, but, like, it only just further reinforced my kind of, this ain't for me. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, again, like, me being, like, uber sensitive, I was just like, why be like that? You couldn't even fucking say why, you know. But that day was sick because Noise was like, I want you to be in the cutting crew. I want you to be in my cutting crew. Yeah.
With Static and
With
Shine.
Static, yeah.
Wow.
And oh my God,
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I've got the video. I've got a VHS of this event, and I'm just like, you know, I had fucking beef with him, like with you know, and I'm like, why? I don't even know why, but I don't like you because you were a fucking, you know, you don't have to take that, you know, you don't have to have that approach. However, at that time, you know, it's like, sometimes that's all you've got, you know, is your attitude and your you know, and if you're from a crew, then your crew is everything, you know, but like, that wasn't cool, mate, you know, it bothered me, you know, and but like, just to the opposite of that, like, Noise was like, let's have a jam. You know, me, you, and Static. Like, oh my God. And yeah, so we did. We jammed, and like, Noise had this like Pete Rock, you know, that, yo, Pete, break the drumsticks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you know,
and you drumming?
Yeah.
You're drumming with
yeah, and I'm straight in with like, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You know, I've got like,
Oh, I need to see this.
Mate, I need to convert it. There's a guy in Levenshulme who like converts the tapes, and
awesome.
I need to do it, like, but yeah, it just, I suppose, like, I was like, is this how it's gonna be? Is this how it's gonna be? You know, and then I've got the opposite of getting on a tour bus with a band, and I've got Sneak, and where it's just all love, and it's just us against the world, not like just me against everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how it felt, man. And yeah, but you know,
yeah, it could be a bit like, I don't know, a territorial type of thing as well, can it? You know what I mean?
Sure.
With the hip hop thing, you know, there was a lot more attitude. I found, like, you know, since the internet become a thing, people were more together. You know what I mean? People were a bit more open-minded, but
on that day as well, I think, like,
it's different.
Yeah, like the stuff that I was using as well, I was very much like, I had this like routine with like, walk this way, and it was like, walk this way, suck a DJ, step up so I can slay another, like this, you know, like in front of these guys.
Yeah.
And I don't think that went down very well,
Right,
you know.
okay.
But again, I was just making stuff. I thought that's how it had to. I thought that's how it was, you know. But it's like, yeah, here we are.
Wow.
But yeah, it's mad, mate. And then, you know, that like the 98 DMC like Mark One was one of the judges, and like Leaky Fresh was there.
Yeah.
And Leaky Fresh was like, I used to have like a radio, you know, when you have the radio antenna on your hi-fi.
Yeah.
I used to tune into like Sunset 102, the Leaky Fresh Out to Distress rap show. I was starstruck.
Wow.
I felt like, it was crazy, you know, when they were judging, and yeah, like that was different. My mindset was different. And I don't even think I was that, it wasn't even that, you know, I don't know.
You ended up winning that.
I did, but I felt it was a bit like, you know, I felt like, even though that happened, I felt like it was just, I don't know, yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. It was a bit of a weird one. Like, it just maybe solidified, like I didn't know whether I was going to do any more.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's run its course.
Yeah, like, and then the going down to the 1998 final, and just again, like, I think no one could come, my mates at that time. I was on my own,
Okay.
you know.
And that was in Shepherd's Bush Empire in London, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was at Shepherd's Bush.
You killed it on the video though. I remember watching that video, 1998. I bought it off my friend Crow, and we used to watch that video religiously. You, Tony Vegas, Prime Kutz, Excel, Mad Kutz, you know, all of these guys. And it's like, wow.
Mate, I can so two things, like, I remember not enjoying it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not enjoying it, and then when my set came, like, you'd have to watch back, but like the engineer hadn't turned me up, so the monitors on stage were working, and I'm there, I've started, and I know they haven't turned up the house speakers.
Oh, nightmare.
And I didn't have the front to be like, fuck you, I'm going to start again.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's like, you know, I mean, it would be amazing if someone had had the nuts to do that, but like at that time, I didn't.
Yeah.
Peter, park up in this piece.
So I'm doing it, and I just felt deflated. Do you know what I mean?
It threw you.
Yeah, it threw me, and like, I definitely like started to get a bit more in the pocket with like the South Bronx is a fucking.
I love that juggle. I love that juggle. Man.
Oh mate, yeah, nice one. Like,
so funky.
Oh, like, yeah, like.
South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx, South Bronx, the South Bronx. Many people tell me this style is terrific. It is burlesque is specific.
Like the years after, because I found out it came out on video, and I found it hard to watch, you know, because like I've just see that beginning bit, like, oh, why didn't you fucking turn it up? And
it's easy to be critical about your stuff when you're living in the moment. It's different, but when you watch it back, it's like, oh, that happened, and that's how I felt. But for me as a fan watching it, you know, it didn't seem that it's like, oh wow, this DJ called Peter Parker. I saw him at DMC in Manchester. He killed that, and now he's on the video with, you know, all the Scratch Pervert guys and Mr. Thing and, you know, all these legends, and yeah, he's just killing it just like all of them guys. You know what I mean?
So like at that time, like it was sick. Like Scratch Perverts, all them guys. Shouts to all of them. Like they were ace. Like there was a Fresh 98 and Noise was playing at it, and I went down just as a fan, you know, but he's like, you've got to come hang out, you know. Next thing, I'm just in like the equivalent of a wardrobe, and they're all in there, like all perverts,
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
And like little old me and whatever, and but we were just chatting, you know, and it was just very much like, and it was like, okay, yeah, you're all fucking really sound. And then I'd be going around Europe with Ray and Christian, and they'd be doing gigs. So we'd be in catering or whatever, and Tony and Joel, like Prime Kutz and Tony Vegas, and always, oh, no way, you know, like this. And it was always like that. And I remember having like a couple of gigs in London and with Tony, and just always being like mega sound. And then like, you know, +1, like going up to and doing gigs with Ray and Christian, going up to Edinburgh, that was an experience in itself, man. And seeing Richie Roughtone and all like all them
all the Scottish legends.
Oh my gosh, mate, like they were like just another, like, shouts to Richie though as well, like, because they kind of hit it off, and
yeah,
you know, they were like really sound. But I've like listening to them cutting, mate, even when they were like warming up for these nights they were doing, I was just like, fuck me, man, like, what the fuck are they doing?
They was on some next level up there. Big up +1, Richard Roughtone, Crash Slaughter, all of them guys used to kill it on the cut, man.
Yeah.
They still do kill it on the cut.
Yeah, of course. Like, but I knew with Sneak and the thing that we were doing,
yeah,
it was like, no one's doing that.
No.
You know, so it's like, yeah, you know, and
very different what you were doing. You
yeah,
know, original,
and
completely original.
But like, yeah, just seeing all them dudes, and like, and then +1, it's like, oh no way, +1's moved down to London. Oh, he's in the Perverts now, and Harry Love, and like, and all them, all like, whenever we just meet all these dudes, everyone just being mad sound, and it was just a wicked time, like, where I felt like, even though I don't know, whatever the DMC, it was what it was, but my course had changed, you know, and I think I just became obsessive about wanting to release music, you know, and I think that was where I was meant to go. And I was also really glad because like there's also Woody, you know, who literally had me like this, you know, like, and I'm grateful that never actually happened, because like that would have really, like, I would have found that hard, you know what I mean? I was finding it all hard anyway, but like, yeah, just like, I remember like being asked to judge like the 1999 DMC, and that was at Planet K in Manchester, and like Woody was there, and Bunty had come down. Shouts to Bunty, and yeah, and all these dudes, and I was like, and Woody, fucking, oh my, you know, like, and I was like, I'm glad I'm on this side of the fence. Do you know what I mean? Like just watching it, because I'd only heard about Woody, but then actually seeing, like, it was devastating. You know, like the level and how the originality and the sort of like, and it was, you know, I was like, okay, this is my path and I'm cool with it, you know.
Yeah.
And then just watching, you know, like, just fucking, it was crazy. It was intensifying.
Oh, it certainly was. I was in them same battles too, man. And yeah, you know, being in Planet K, it's a few years on the bounce as well, and you know, from '99 till about 2001, and you know, seeing Bunty, Woody, Fast T, you know, who's the guy that did the Star Wars thing? Uppercut.
Uppercuts, yeah. Good lad.
All of them dudes, proper sound lads, but beasts on the turntables. You know what I mean? And I'm new to the game, and seeing all these guys kill it, it's like, wow, it's so inspirational, but at the same time, it's like, wow, this is crazy. You know what I mean?
It's mad, isn't it? Like the sort of the reality of it, because you can be sat at home and watching the videos, and you know you're studying, and like it's kind of mad, you know, like seeing battles like online and everything, and you know people are very fortunate because they get to record from where they cut and that comfort, you know. But there's nothing like the shark pit of, you know, like you just. When everybody's there in the same room, you know.
All eyes on you. All eyes on your hands. Yeah. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, mate. It's just like, you know, like just respect to anybody who goes and, you know, anybody who does that. It's like, it's just, it's dope for sure. And it just takes a hell of a lot.
It's fun though. It is fun. As crazy as it is, it can be a lot of fun too.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure. I'd like, I think just because of how I came into it and everything, and like my experiences, like I just found it all quite different, you know.
I suppose that was like the training ground for you going out to do your tours and, you know, like perform alongside Sneaky and AIM and all of this type of thing. And
like, you know, it was like, I suppose, like it just, you know, it kind of, it's you like forged. You're forged, you know, and then like and it gave me like, I suppose that like I was in that band for a reason, you know, and it's like, okay, and this is it, you know. And the thing with Sneak, and like the next thing for me was I just couldn't wait to get out of that flat, man, with the mice and that. Like I found, so this is crazy, right? This is mental. So at this time, Sneak had just come from uni, and I'd done the art college thing, you know, and then ended up doing the DMC and everything. While I was at art college, I forged friends with like all this Runcorn crew.
Okay.
Because they were funny, like they were so funny, man. And I wanted to be on their table. Anyway, Chris Drury was one of them, so he was in my class at art college. And they were all into hip hop, you know, so it's just great being in the thick of it. And it's like, oh, some other people who are into like what I'm into, you know, and you just learn much quicker about stuff and like different, you know, trading tapes and all that kind of thing. And me and Chris became like Bezzy mates, like Bezzy, you know, like, because I just found like a kindred spirit or whatever. And we parted ways. Because I didn't finish and he passed and he went on to Salford Uni.
Right.
And like this one time we'd done a photo shoot for like City Life magazine, and it turns out that like Sneak and Chris had been living together,
right,
in a flat on Trafalgar Road in Eccles, and one time they opened this City Life magazine, and like, you know, Sneak's in there, and Chris is like, no way, that's Dan. And Sneak's like, what, you know him? And he's like, yeah, I was at college with him, you know, like this. It's bonkers, man. And then like, I don't know, I see Sneak one time, he's like, you know Chris Drury? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I've been living with him.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, and then we had this gig at Jazz Cafe in London where I met Sneak's brother for the first time, and Chris came. And I hadn't seen him for years, and we were Bezzy mates, and I missed him, you know. Yeah. And that was it. Just so I was like, oh mate, and you know, meanwhile we're getting offered this record deal. It's crazy. I'm in this flat with mice in it, and they're in Heaton, Mersey at this time, in this massive house that looked like out of one of the houses from Neighbours, you know, from Nancy Street from beginning. Nice. I'm like, I want to live here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I was sick, mate. And I'm like, I just like, even knowing that Chris had been part, I'm like, this is just so meant to be, you know. And then we get this record deal. I'm like, well, you're going to do all the artwork, you know. We've got to create something. What can we do, you know? And Chris was unhappy in his graphic design job. And he used to come out, but he's always people watching, drawing people. And he used to go home and have a pint in the pub round the corner, just sit off, just do these sketches, you know, and have his pint just to kind of level his head. And I don't even know how it happened, but like I had to move in. I wanted to be where they were, you know, and as soon as the opportunity came, I moved into this house, and it was just a fucking madhouse. But it was like the creative. It was just all happening.
Yeah,
you know, it was literally like where the fireworks would go off.
Yeah,
you know, and that was it. You know, I was like, well, why don't you like stop working? You know, why don't you tell them to fuck off? You know, and we make a band and you come on tour with us and we like do something. You know, like, but how do we do it? Do you know what I mean? How are we gonna do it? How are we gonna do it? It was just, I don't know, just convinced him to like sack his job off or whatever. And and we just got offered this deal, and like, you know, what if we have a screen? You know, and like, you put your drawings, how do you do it, you know, but somehow your artwork goes on the screen, you know, and that's what we do. We'll go on either side. And
so you're just bringing visuals to your music.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but before any of that,
before any of this AV stuff.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, Fingathing. And we fucking love beat check.
The only thing that we'd see would be the ninja tune. Them guys, they were already on it. They were in going and seeing their gigs and like, how do you do it, you know? And and that was it. It was like, right, that, you know, like after Ray and Christian, it was like we were sat on a bus and Mark's like, you've got to have a name, you know, you've got to have a name, like what, you know, Fingathing, you know, like, right, that's got a ring to it. Okay, we're Fingathing, you know, like.
So that's how the name came about. Was it? Yeah, wow.
And we need a producer, right? And at this time, James Ford had just started producing or engineering. It's like, you're gonna go and spend some time with James. And it's like, okay, so what do we do? You know, we just go and it's like, right, we'll just go and do what you've been doing, you know? So I had these beats and stuff that we'd made, got these records, and then we've got the stuff that we were doing live, which is like Fathead, which is just one turntable and the bass. And we'd just go to his room and just record takes. They'd be like, right, how do you want it to be? You know, I'm like, well, you know, it's like, I love Black Sabbath, so let's have the Rain from Black Sabbath, you know. And then like your horror records, I've got this Frankenstein record, you know, and all this, you know, prepare to fucking whatever.
Brilliant.
You know, and just taking all this stuff, and James is lapping, oh, he's like, this is great, you know, cool. We'll just record it in blocks, so you do the sections.
Yeah.
We put that in, there's the intro, right, first, you know, intro section, let's go. You know, and then next bit, let's go, and he could multi-track, you know, because it was only like one signal, you know, and then sneak, and he'd just comp it.
This is before Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Before all that.
Yeah.
So he was like recording to like, was it like tape, 2-inch tape or something?
No, not it wasn't Pro Tools, but he was using. It wasn't Cubase, Cakewalk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was still digital recording.
Yeah. Right.
But through a big ass desk.
Yeah.
You know. And James just had the knack and the ear, like he's a drummer, you know.
Yeah.
And everything that he I think because he was a drummer, everything just had like a certain punch. And then like taking records, and James is like, I've got some beats. He's like, I've got, you know, it's like, you're a fucking drummer, of course you've got beats, you know. But then like what was it? It's like one of the Bootman breaks, but all these things from like New York, you know, like these white labels that you'd get, you know, or like these things that were like for promotional use only, you know, because they've got like bad, you know, or like naughty stuff that hadn't been cleared. And would literally go and like, you know, whatever it bought over that couple of weeks or from the tour, would just go in the studio with it and, right, what's the idea, you know, oh, I've got this, like, and just kind of build it. And James would be very patient, you know, and kind of sit there. We just go through it bit by bit, you know, and I'd play through some sounds, and he's like, yeah, that, you know, and he just, anything that we put in there, we just make it just sounded good. And it just, all I had to do was play the stuff, because it wasn't really about putting loads of effects on anything. It just could be dead clean. Yeah. You know, so it was just, okay, we'll just drop it then, just do it, you know, and yeah, and then comping Sneak strings. It was, and Sneak and James had already been playing, doing Collider, you know, it was all meant to be, like they already had this good relationship. And we did the first EP with James, and then it was like, well, we've got to do the album, you know, like once the album opportunity came, it's like, well, we'll do the same thing. And James had this group called Simeon, and he would stop doing the recordings with Simeon to fit us in. Right. But we in the same house, we'd be waiting downstairs or waiting in a room. It was all very awkward, you know, because they're there and we've come, and like we're coming to their space, and you know, it's all very like, it's like I know when you're doing, like when you're making tunes, and it's all very like, you know, you're just in your
like in your zone.
In your zone, yeah. And people don't come into that, you know,
no,
like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, or like some, it's like, oh, it's, you know, but James had basically turned this, what was a shared house in West Didsbury, into a recording studio. Right. You know, so we just would go and just take the beats, take the MPC. Like I'd sort of made an agreement with Mark, got this MPC, and then, you know, I'm spending time with Noise, and I'm like, I want to get him on the album, you know, what can we do? And then while me and Noise are doing gigs, he's coming and staying at mine. And he's like, I know how to use an MPC. Oh wow! I'm like, sick, sick. So I got a lesson from this one guy who's like, this is all I'm going to show you. Mike Ball, shout outs to Mike, and he just showed me this, like, and he's like, it's not, this is just how I do it. This is just how I do it, and that's all he keep repeating, you know. And he's like, but this is all you need to know. And, you know,
what MPC was it?
It was a 60. Oh, okay. MPC 60. Wow, classic. Yeah, and but Noise was right at home. He's like, Dan, I know how to use this, you know, like, and like, sit, you know, his records come round, we'll just spend the time, you know. Yeah. And I'd just sit and like watch him, because I'm still learning, you know. But he was like a bit more at home with it, and he'd like show me these little tricks, like to do with velocity. You know, like how hard or soft like things come in the drum patterns and that, to get like a realistic sound, or more just what idea of more swing or more feel. You know, even though I'm programmed to like, you know, it's like you can't always be like that. You know, I'm still finding that out. Mate. But yeah, it's just, you know.
Wow, so that's how the second album come out?
No, it's the first one.
Oh, this was the first one, was it?
Yeah. Like,
sorry, the EP and then the album.
Yeah, so the EP was in like 1999, so after that 98 thing, 99, I'm judging at the DMC and almost saying goodbye. You know, like, I just, you know, only because like all my attention was put into this other thing. Yeah. And then that's, you know, making, just as soon as we made something like that, ends up becoming like one of the first tunes, or like one of the pivotal tunes. but not everyone could be like that, like all scratched or whatever. So, you know, I graduated from like the Cubase and the Emu sampler. I wanted an MPC. I wanted an MPC. Shadow MPC, come on, you know, like all this. And then Noise come in, and I wanted him on the album because he was my hero.
Of course.
And on top of that, he was my friend. We built this friendship, man. Oh, it's just bonkers,
and did he come on the album?
So there's a tune called Crowd Pleasers, and Noise came round to James's studio in West Didsbury. We're there with the MPC set up, and then he came on 2 tunes because it was like, oh well, we want to do something that's raw as well, you know, without just us cutting up over a beat.
Okay.
So there's another one, I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. But it's like got 3 parts, and I'm using like the Rocky soundtrack and just all this stuff. You know, like that I just, you know, that's just uber naughty. But with giving 2 shits about any of that, you know.
Just want to create and just get it out there.
Mate.
Prepare to embark upon the darkest voyage into the unknown in the history of mankind.
You did the first EP, an album. What happened after that? So this would have been like early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. So like Ray and Christian's taking off. We get invited to Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a tour.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Like yeah. So it had to be a smaller version of the band. So Mark it was like more of a core. The first time we went out, first time we went out was a really broken down version, and the second time out was like we all went, like big ass
Yeah.
fucking crew.
Yeah.
Like I remember it was like I don't know, there was a Chinatown because I was like mad for God, like just all the stuff, all the nerd stuff. Right, where is it? On my first day, mate, I spent like $300. Like we got these PDs, and I found this shop, man, and they had like a Godzilla, it was like a skeleton with like a rubber version, and the guy wouldn't take it out of the box.
Right.
The box was this big.
Yeah.
And it was $300. I was like, I'll take it. And this was the start of the tour, man.
Yeah. That's a lug Godzilla around with you all the time.
Yeah,
It's worth it though.
It wouldn't go. It wouldn't go in the hold, and it wouldn't fit in the overhead lockers.
How did you get it back to the UK?
I can't even remember, mate. All I can remember is having to sweet talk the crew on the plane. I mean, my ego's like flying high, like at this time, and I'm just like, you've got to look after my monster, and they're putting it in their wardrobe, with all their stuff, like their uniforms and that, and it's just fucking crazy. It's just like ridiculous. And I spent and the PS2 had come out and it went out in the UK.
Yeah.
Spent the rest of my PDs on one of them and all. And then the next thing, I just remember I got my luggage and I got a PS2 in it that I'm sneaking around, and then I'm just eating the rider, just crisps and booze.
Living the dream.
That's what being a superhero is all about.